Just make sure you put the statement for the person that you took
fucking
for the warrant for stumbles.
You know why Carmen's upset with me, Knight?
Did you take his intercept to start away?
No, not yet. He didn't listen to a direct order in a shootout and then broke away from the triage after people were told to not stray away from the triage and follow suspects, and he got shot down 5 blocks away. That forced other officers to group up and try to go save him, that who also got shot 2 blocks away from the triage, trying to go save him, which in turn dismantled the entire foundation of the triage and the defense that the APD had, ultimately forcing me to call the entire shootout off and negotiate for the return of the 95s in order to save officer lives.
My rebuttal to all that is, cool story, bro. Who asked?
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong? Carmine, take a lap.
What the hell?
You too, dumb fuck.
What did I do?
Yeah, take a lap,
through at
Marshy.
me. Let's go.
Take a lap, Marshy.
I'm gonna use my take codes appropriately.
Take a lap, Marshy. Come on. Don't talk back.
Wait, so what happened?
Oh, come here. Basically, I woke up this morning, and there was a shootout had already been going on for like an hour prior to me waking up and coming on duty. And I said, you know, I kind of don't want to like get on duty and go join the shootout.
Yeah, you're still waking up.
I'm like, you know, but I listened. I listened for about 20 minutes, and I heard that it was a stalemate. You know, in 15 cops were already shot down. 5-6 cops were holding out, you know, waiting.
Oh my god! Wait, this is before tsunami?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes till tsunami at this point. So you know, clock's ticking.
I need to wake up earlier and chat.
You know, what are we doing? Are we gonna push? Are we gonna do whatever? And it was just like nobody was like deciding. So I finally said, "Fuck it." You know, we're giving them boys back. We're saving the officers. We have officers like spread across all of Hawick in different alleyways, shot down, bleeding. It got too far. You know, an hour and a half is way too long for a fucking shootout to just be stagnant for no reason.
Yeah, I agree.
But there was a lapse in people sort of not listening to direct orders and pushing far out from the triage and getting caught out alone, you know. Typical PD stuff.
But if you want me to drive it all, we should probably take one.
The bane of PD, people running on their own and getting shot down in bumfuck nowhere, you know?
There's a separate thing that I've noticed we're having an issue with. This is my POV, and this is, keep in mind, like I've been around for most of this season. Don't ever 10-3 me again.
Sir, I will 10-3 you again if the radio chatter is not necessary, required on the radio.
Are you talking about RTO?
Yeah, sir,
okay, so if Carmine is saying some dumb shit and you respond with some dumb shit, does that make it better?
I didn't say any dumb shit. He was talking shit to me.
Okay, what was your response?
I told him to shut up.
Okay, and so what happens after that? You guys are gonna go fight on the radio? That's equally as bad.
Go to that, Marshy.
Yes, sir.
Go to that.
All right.
Oh God.
Is that BCSO's Carmine right there? I don't really know him too well.
Yeah, he's our equivalent. He's our diversity hire. He's good, though. He's a way better driver than Carmine. What do you want, Carmine, as you run past me?
Bye, guys. Love you.
Are you?
I prepared.
Wait, hold on, Carmine. Get back over here.
Prepared. I think I'm not prepared.
Carmine.
78.
I have prepared.
Wait, is it?
For the worst.
Oh, God damn it. We'll chat later. 78.
Is it still on? I'm listening to it. I looked at this. What do you have?
Wait, is it?
Yeah, this okay. I could probably still beat you in a stock one.
That's a lie.
I'll give you the. You go into that 78s? I'll just come with you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how things are supposed to be, right? I'm not trying to impose whatever the fuck we used to do back in the day type shit. Sure. But I feel like we're endlessly chasing shit that's already a lost cause. But as that's happening, there's equally silent breakoffs. So it's cooking everybody.
There's no evidence of that.
I think a lot of people have like a built up frustration, especially with how things have been the past couple weeks, that they get to like a boiling point and they do silently break off unrightfully. And it becomes a problem for everyone else who stays on the call.
I agree with
I got
that.
it right here off the.
That's the.
They were shooting at locals. Right off by Ginger Street, across from Senior Buns. I got a casing.
It was a boost. Okay.
we can go ahead and job code for that 70s car. I'm out.
Hey, firm.
All good, better safe than dead, brother.
Yeah. There's by no means is the PD near perfect, or close to perfect.
Princess, you almost died.
Hey, princess.
I don't disagree with that, but let me give you an example, right? We just did this Polito. We have we have the primary target, we have the primary vehicle. We don't stay by the primary vehicle. Instead, we decide to repair it instead of getting tow, which means to get that vehicle back. All right, fine, right? Primary target gets into a vehicle. We lose them, and then just someone randomly decides to chase the interference, which at that point, quite frankly, why waste any time? Why waste any resources on felony obstruction? Could it lead to something? Sure, but you're now cooking 8 cops, half of which are already off the radio. You know what I'm saying?
I think
you're like draining the last drops of those people's energy.
Yeah, I think how long the call's been playing out is important. I think if it happens like within the first 10 minutes of the chase, sure, yeah, keep chase the interference by all means. But once you've lost everyone that's a primary target or was at the primary crime, that's when you start.
Yeah,
it's breaking off, and
it's not worth the resources. Resources being like energy of the cops. The second thing that I've noticed, which I think would help a lot, is okay, this is I'm gonna say really, I'm just gonna fucking be weird about it for a second. We get one interference, we attach more units to it, and people that are attaching for interference are literally there to get onto the main pursuit, and that shit's triggering the fuck out of me.
Yeah, but I give a counterpoint, and this is my sort of POV of it. Is a lot of the interference we're dealing with are also very good cars.
Agreed.
And to call a spade, a lot of most of these drivers, even in the interference cars, are good drivers. Most of PD drivers are not good drivers.
I agree.
The average officer is not driving a really good car. So,
okay. Well, so let me just to make sure, like, the example I'm using is accurate to what I'm pointing at. Let's say we've got a vehicle, whatever it is, we got like 2 interceptors, 2 regular vehicles, and we're chasing like a 2-door or a 4-door or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, we need 2 additional units or 4 additional units to the interference cars. There are certain folks, and that come to mind. I'm not going to say their names right now. That will, I mean, it's like a habit. Will wait, attach to the call for the interference, but the moment they lose that interference, they're on that main pursuit. Now we got 8 units chasing, and it's not even that. Like, I get it, right? They've forced our hand, got more units, but equally, I think those attaching vehicles should primarily be focused on the further interference, right?
I think you're 100% right. There are cases where people are doing that in hopes or with the goal of getting on the main car for sure. I think that's for me when I'm like leading a pursuit, unless it's super hectic where I like lose track of certain things, I'm not thinking of certain things. I guess ideal world, I'll be like by name, hey, you 2 on interference, right? And then those people are called out, they stay on interference. That way, like in my mind, I'm leading, so I see them on the main car. I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck are these guys here? But I think what happens, I'd say average, most of the time what happens is some people do try to stick on the interference, but they just end up losing that fucking car.
They should go on standby then.
Yeah, and some do, some don't. Was the problem you're saying, right? Some don't. They should go 100% go on standby. But what also happens is they stay on standby, and when the main car spins out or gets boxed or a box attempt happens, all those standby cars slowly or quickly converge on that box.
Yes.
All in that area, waiting for the interference to come, because we know what's going to happen. The car's boxed, right? We know what's going to happen. 1 or 2 cars are going to come flying around the fucking corner and ram the box.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. And
1,000%.
What happens with that is the main car then is free, takes off southbound, and then the 4 closest cars to it start following it, but then also the 3 cars that were originally chasing it start following it.
Exactly.
And then it turns into a 7-car conga line.
That's exactly it. I guess to hit it on the nose, are there too many interference cars? 100%. Too many swaps? 100%. But I'm going to die on a hill here. I believe we are lending to that problem.
I don't think we're helping it for sure. I don't think it's all 100% our fault. I think half the time people are doing the best they can, and it ends up like that because either inexperience or confusion or hecticness or misjudgment. It's just I wish that the tour, because I drive. I'm not a moron. I'm self-aware. I drive a fucking Interceptor most days.
Yeah, our main vehicles, their baseline stats are complete dog shit. I can sympathize
with the people who drive Tauruses every day, and even the Premier, right, with 2 people, it's not the best.
True.
So I can sympathize with them, and then how it gets frustrating, not keeping up with 99% of the people you're chasing. So I really hope that something could be done to help them with even like the worst drivers. If you're a bad driver, you to call it as it is. You need a better car to balance that out. If you're chasing Future Hendrix in a fucking tailgater who's interference, most of the people in the
isn't that a separate issue though?
What?
Like that is an issue.
Certainly,
yeah.
Above us.
Wait, above us?
Are you talking about the engines? The car's not being good enough?
Yeah, I think I think that's definitely a problem. 100%. Like, listen, I'm just gonna be straight up. If I had to drive that dog ass shit, I would not be on duty.
I wouldn't either. I'd be fucking annoyed.
Hell no.
I would hate myself.
Yeah. I'd rather fucking, I mean, I'm going to go further. Why the fuck would I want to investigate if I have to lean on some possibly good drivers but are dog shit at actual policing, taking over my scene because I've got a dog shit vehicle? Yeah. We got the arrest. Oh, by the way, we didn't document anything, and I think it was him, and I don't think it's him. Oh, my God. Fucking 99, like fucking S-boost. All right, peace, later. See ya.
Yeah,
no report. I ain't trying to fuck with that.
I think there's holes everywhere in like in the pursuit itself. There's holes in the cars. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of issues in all certain different places that are all kind of like you try to patch one hole and like the other hole over there starts leaking more water. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
But in regards to what I'm saying about the swap stuff, right? When we get additional units, I think there should be a very strict SOP that if you are attaching as an additional, your job is only for those interference cars unless directly instructed by the scene lead.
Do you know what it is? Quite simply.
Yeah.
If you attach as an interference car, it is perfect as an interference car. It is perfectly fine that if the 3 cars chasing are past you and 2 of them crash out and you take their spot up, it's perfectly fine to assume that role. But those 3 cars that are there, the 2 that spin up, they are fully within the right to catch back up and pass you, and then you fall back into parallel. Because I think it's a little unrealistic to expect those 3 cars to keep up perfectly the entire time and never spin up and never make a mistake. I think it's fine to fill gaps and interference cars to sort of fill in those gaps and take that, but they have to not stay there.
I'm going to say something a little bit strange, right? Isn't that leading to a situation where we're choke holding, right? So let me give you an example, right? Let's say we're dealing with like a decent crew, right? Hydra, besties, etc., etc. Yeah, these guys have crack drivers, right? So we're having to sweat it out to keep up with them. But we apply that same formula now to some of these other crews, right? They may not, how are they going to get, like, how do I put this? If they happen to chase us around and, our 4 units end up spinning out, but we have all these other units on standby to take over on the spin outs or the crash outs.
I'm talking about like very specific case where like one of the parallel units is right there and could take the position. I'm not talking about like everyone's hovering. I
agree.
I'm not talking about like everyone's hovering around the pursuit and they're just there to fall in line when somebody calls. I'm talking about like I'm talking about here. Specific example: a block happens.
Mm-hmm.
2 cops get blocked, and there's 1 parallel on the other side. That a parallel can join in as secondary until those 2 cops get back, and then fall back into parallel. I'm not talking about like four parallels on the side.
We're in
to the right side,
I'm with you
parallels on the
100%.
left
You
side.
happen to be right place, right time. You fill in the gap.
Yes.
Till they
but
come
you
back.
fall back into
Yeah.
parallel once they come back. But I think, or one of those main people can be like, okay, you take my position, I will then be parallel. But there has to be designated. There has to be the designated people following the pursuit, and that should be the only them. And I think that is also on whoever's leading the pursuit to be like, okay, to recognize these are the 3 people, these are the 3 cars in the pursuit. I need to. If people aren't doing, I need to tell them to fuck off and move and get out of here. It's I don't know. It's never gonna be perfect, and it has to be handholdy. And I wish it wasn't handholdy, but
shouldn't it start with like a mandate though? Because like if it's not like if it's not like a mandate, it becomes a preference, right? I may feel this way. I think I'm in we're pretty close in agreement. I think. I agree with you. If you're relieving, 100%. Like if I get attached, I'm paralleling. You know, I'm sitting on the side. I'm chilling, right? But
I think it's less of a mandate. It's just because that is how it's supposed to be. That is how it's like technically by the book taught, right? It's just not enforced. It's something that has to be enforced and instilled and become standard, because it's not a standard. It has to just be enforced by scene leads. It has to be enforced by command to where it becomes natural and it becomes the norm. Now, right now, it's not the norm. And by just telling people saying, hey, by the way, from now on, this is why we're doing it. No, because that's how we should be doing it. We're just not enforcing it. It just has to be enforced.
Okay.
Kind of like how, you told Gitlin yesterday to take the this is like separate topic.
That's Michelle, right?
Yeah, Michelle. You told him to take the photo of the possessions by holding the gun, right? That's technically how we should be doing it, but it's not being enforced widespread. It's not habit for people. So you have to enforce it until it becomes habit and it becomes second nature.
Okay.
Because you could just fucking say, "I'll write in the SOPs," but no, this is literally how it's supposed to be done. It's something that's been taught, at least. So from certain FTOs are teaching it, certain are, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It's never gonna. This problem, along with 99% of the problems, is not gonna get fucking fixed overnight. It's not gonna get fixed with one SOP change and one mentioning at a meeting. It's gonna get fixed, not perfectly, but by being repeatedly jammed into people.
I agree. I think when I say mandate, I guess we had a similar topic I was speaking to Ruby about, and my recommendation was like maybe we need to put like 2 of these things into like, I don't know, the fucking announcement or whatever, and that becomes like what we aim to improve, like command down, you know what I mean?
Brian?
Oh, hello?
You weren't talking after, and you said put these 2 things into, and then you stopped.
Into an announcement, like here are the 2 things we're gonna focus on and drill on this week, and then you get used to it, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine to like fucking verbalize and reiterate the lines and like jam in like this is like like you said, mandated, but it's all gonna boil down to being enforced. We can say whatever the fuck we want to say, but if we're not gonna act on it and actually yell at people and hold it to people, then it's never gonna change.
I guess where I'm coming from, maybe this is like I'm down to enforce it, but I can't feel like I'm the only one, because otherwise you end up being the bad guy, right? Which I don't mind being, but it makes it easier to ignore it at the simultaneously,
Ruby,
right?
So Ruby also came to me about she had disagreements with how stuff was being handled in the pursuit, and I told her, she's like, I didn't want to speak up against the the go fast guys. I said Ruby, if you're like one, despite you being lieutenant, if it's your scene, you can tell those people to do whatever, you can tell them to do whatever the fuck you think has to get done. If you want the interceptors to fuck off and go on the interference, you can tell them that, as both an LT and the scene lead. And if they have a problem with it, you come tell me about it. But like, I don't want people to think that, oh, the pursuit drivers, they have ultimate say. I think the pursuit drivers have authority when chasing a supercar to work their way to the front if they are the only cars that can keep up with them. I think that they can do. That's within their right. But I don't think they have the right to get into a pursuit and just say, I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to chase whatever I want and everyone else can go fuck off.
Yeah.
We're kind of like steering away to a different topic, to be honest, but
Yeah,
it's
because I think it goes. I think we're saying in general, right? Not just pursuit, but even
I'm just saying in general,
whatever
absolutely.
it might be.
It's hard, especially with the hecticness. How some of these calls get, it gets super fucking hard to keep track of people, especially, and putting that all on a scene lead is very demanding.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who can pursue and think about all this all in the moment and make the right call all in the moment and do all these things simultaneously. I can't even do that. Maybe one, sure, here and there I can have a good fucking pursuit where I'm actually like, delegating all this shit properly, but I won't do it perfect, sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a super hard issue to fix, but I'm confident that it does boil down to repeating and repetitiveness and just changing the norm, which comes through time and comes through repeat action and shit like that.
Let me ask you a more a pointed question here. Let's say I see this as a sergeant on a scene. Is it my responsibility to drill that if I'm not the scene lead?
What's it? Just conga lining, bunch of people.
Yeah, conga lining or interferences attaching in, and
as command, it's your force to. It's well. I think it's well within a command member's right, regardless of whatever the fuck department in whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Where the fuck's going on, whoever's leading. If the scene lead isn't dictating it, I think it is command's position to speak up and say, hey, too many fucking cars chasing this main car. If you attached on for interference, go parallel, go look for interference, go look for blocks. Main cars keep chasing the main car.
All right, easy. All right.
That's people not doing what they should be doing. That's not anyone, it's not anything other than that.
Okay. All right, easy. All right.
I think any command member should be able to do that and should feel like they can do that.
All right, easy. Hey, I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, well.
All right, I gotta head up north, take care of some stuff.
Yep. All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Hey, Brian.
That's interesting. Okay. I mean, this is good and all, but I do think one point still stands. Like right now we have half of our on duty. Night.
Hey, Brian, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good.